if any, how do you think that what we've talked about in the previous video, so meditation, awareness, and gratitude, do you think that is incorporated into money, the conversation about money at all? Like, does gratitude, awareness, and meditation have a place with money? Can they go hand in hand? Like, how does that work? Do they kind of intertwine, or are they separate?
Yeah, so you're going to find them intertwined in two different areas. The first one is going to be when you deal with money straight away. So when you deal with money, sometimes when you do those impulsive buying, basically the impulsion of buying is triggered by an emotion. And most of the time it's the excitement. You walk into that store, you see those beautiful pair of shoes and you're getting super excited about it. So one part of your brain will say, buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it. But then you have another part of your brain that is the rational brain. That's the one that develops a bit later and that can understand language. This one will try to rationalize the information, and that will be the one that will start considering the budget, that will start considering, but maybe you already have those colors at home or whatever, all those type of things. So basically you start to have that battle between your emotion and your rational. So back to meditation and all that type of things is, before you do that impulsive buying, if you do an express meditation or more like a deep breath and try to control your emotion, you actually all right, hold on a second. Yes, I'm excited. Okay, that's great. Let's put that emotion aside for a second. Let's be a little bit more objective right there. Do I really need these shoes? So your meditation or express thing will be able to raise your awareness. Because you raise your awareness, you are aware that you're about to do an impulsive buy, and then you're like, do I need it? Right there, you straight into awareness. Then gratefulness can come into action there if you say, well, actually I don't, because I already have a nice pair of shoes at home, and I'm grateful for that. So it's gonna come, like you can see, very easily in that kind of sense. And by the way, you can be grateful at the end of the day for not having buying those shoes on an impulse just like that. Perfect. The second time where they're going to intertwine is going to be when you talk about money in your relationship. Basically, like I mentioned earlier before, when you talk about money, it's more than just about money. It's about your core values right here. And when you talk about the core values with someone and you don't have the same core values and you try to make them work together, basically you challenge each other. Because you challenging each other, you push the buttons of each other, if you prefer. When you push the button of someone, there's an emotional reaction to it. It's completely normal. So there, you want to avoid, it needs to be a constructive conversation. You want to avoid the emotional reaction to it. That's the reason why express meditation, awareness, especially awareness, is extremely important in that type of situation. Being aware of how you feel, the fact that it makes you feel uncomfortable, make you feel stressed, make you feel angry, is very, very important. But you need to express this. That's the thing. You need to say to your partner, this makes me feel uncomfortable. This makes me feel angry. This makes me feel that I have to justify myself about how I spend money and that type of things. Because here you're really touching the problem that might be in the way of the conversation. So those stress reducer that we talk about are extremely important in that situation, because remember, talking about money in the relationship is a stress. So we're just putting in action all these tools that we've seen before to go over that challenge that we're encountering right there. So they're extremely important right here.
So those three things, gratitude, awareness, and meditation, can easily be brought in to the conversation about money if it's required to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And how about people who are in a relationship where one person earns more than the other? And how can that conversation kind of start, or how do you approach that kind of thing where it's obvious that one person earns a lot more and so they're going to be putting in more to their combined bucket? How does that conversation work?
It's a great question too, and it's also one of the biggest issue that in a relationship we can have, the fact that one partner is earning more than the other. it goes back to the fundamental of the relationship. We are a team. When you are a team, basically where the money comes from is irrelevant. It comes to a bucket. Either it comes from right to left or something like this. It's irrelevant right there. It's like it comes there and that's about it. Now, some people still don't feel comfortable about this. But every single relationship has their own trick. They all work in different ways. For some of them, although there might be only one source of income, there might be something else that is not money related that the other partner is doing, and I just have example of what I see a lot in New Zealand nowadays. I see that, for example, it happens a lot, and especially for young families, because there's a reality out there that daycare costs a certain amount of money and all of that, and not all the families can afford to send their children to daycare, especially if they have 2 or 3. So what happens most of the time is one of them will work and the other one will stay at home to look after the kids. So if you prefer, you cannot put a value on the fact that one partner is staying at home to look after the kids, because what this partner is going to do is, it has a huge value. You're basically teaching a human being to become a human being. There's no price to that. So you see that something that sometimes in relationship we need to be brought back is the fact that it's not about money. It's not always about money. It's about also the value that we bring to the relationship, building the family and all that type of things and all of that. So my recommendation is that let's not make it about money. Let's make it about the input that we have into the relationship. And money is just one of the input that we can have in a relationship. We know that relationship is not just about I give you 100, you give me 100, and we move forward. It's about how much communication I'm going to give you, how much love I'm going to give you, how much care I'm going to have for you, and all such things and all of that. And I think couples need to look at this on the bigger scale. They need to look at all of that. And there is nothing wrong to acknowledge how things are. There is nothing wrong to say, you're making more money. Okay, on the other hand, I'm doing this. There is absolutely nothing wrong to acknowledge those type of things. And by the way, there's also nothing wrong to have, it's completely irrelevant of the sex. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if it's the woman or the man or something like this and all of that. I'm like, personally, as a man, I have absolutely no problem if my wife is making more money than me. Absolutely not, because I know that will contribute to the relationship in a different way. So I encourage couple, when I work with them, to do that all the time, is to be like, look above and beyond the money and look about the input that you have in the relationship.
Right. That's something I've never even thought about. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetary value that someone is bringing to the relationship. It could be something, like you said, raising a human or raising multiple children, whatever it is. It's a different kind of value versus the other person who's bringing in a monetary value, whereas someone else could be bringing in human value or different qualities. That's really interesting.
Yeah, sometimes it brings tough conversation. Like, let's be honest, sometimes it does bring tough conversation, because when you are in a financial gap in a relationship, you do have to work as a team to make it happen, and you need to find a common ground, and you need to find a solution on how are we going to make it happen together as a team. But one cannot carry the whole relationship on its shoulder. That doesn't work like this. You cannot carry the whole relationship on your shoulder on every single thing, because you have to work as a team. So as long as it's agreed in the relationship, that's how things are, and as long as both sides are comfortable, then that's fine.
Wow, that's really interesting. Is there anything else that you would like to add? That's all the questions that I've got for you, but if there's anything else that you'd like to add before we finish up this video today?
Well, I think I think we've covered like quite a few things today, and I hope that it really brought like kind of food for thought about like how to deal with money into the relationship. Now, like I said, there's so much more behind it. And so my best advice to all the couples listening, to every single one of you listening to that video and that are in a relationship, is please engage the conversation. Start the conversation with your partner about money, about anything that makes you uncomfortable about it. The thing is, if you keep running away from what makes you uncomfortable in that relationship, then you're never going to be happy. And I want you to be happy. I want you to live. I want you to live a happy life. I want you to be happy in whatever we do. We did talk a lot about work over the last videos, and on this one we do talk a lot about relationship. But bear in mind, work and relationship are like some of the. For me, when I have a look at my clients, work and relationship are the two areas where I make the biggest impact for them, because this is what they need. Either they're not happy in the relationship, either they're not happy at work. So communicate at work for sure, but communicate in your relationship, because between these two, that's your whole life. You literally got your whole life right there in front of you. So please engage the conversation. There are plenty of support for all the couples out there. There's counselors and all of that and so on, and there's absolutely nothing wrong to go see a counselor and everything and so on, because you're taking your happiness in your hand by doing this. You're doing something towards this, and be grateful for that. And if you do that, I'm really, 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 really proud of you, because like every single person that I know that does these steps, they make the relationship better, happier, and they make people around them happier. So do it, do whatever it takes, but make it happen.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sofian, for sharing your knowledge today. And we look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Thank you for joining us. And don't forget to visit the Shaking Minds website if you need any more information on what we've talked about today or in the past videos.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.